Welcome to the first of an ongoing series of 5-minute webinars. So let's get started and talk about if we as learning professionals are really thinking about what we're doing, is what we're doing really making the organization more successful? What's the proof of that? Honestly, we all need to do a better job of speaking the language of the business.
Yeah, Anil, I couldn't agree more. We've been enculturated to take on a different set of measures and a different set of language. And what that's done, in some ways, we believe it's separating us. And our endeavor here is to try to get us back to a level set with a common business language so we can really start to get into what makes our businesses successful.
So if we look at the role of a cashier, if their thought was, how can I make it so the customer wants to come back into my line, then we can help them understand that their job really matters to making the organization more successful. Or the question that we have to make sure that we're answering is the approach that we're taking working within the business or just outside of the business, or is it making the organization more successful? So the bottom line is what we're doing helping us gain and retain more customers?
That's great. That's really a fundamental shift, isn't it, from the way that we've been thinking as learning professionals and for the people we train. Taking that example that you mentioned of a cashier at any retail establishment, you think about what we do to get them ready. We talk to them about how fast can you scan things, how well are you able to be accurate in the way you make change. It's how can you get more customers or retain customers by compelling them to come to you. That fundamental shift for me as a cashier then says, now I can see how it's important because I am truly contributing to the business.
So the idea here is really the difference between how do we be more efficient and more effective versus how do we actually add to the bottom line of the organization. It's this notion of connecting each and every employee to their line of sight to the customer. And the reality is that if you're not thinking about this, it's likely that what we're doing might actually be an impediment to that line of sight. So what's the very best of the best doing? How are they making sure that they're connecting their employees to the line of sight of the customer?
I love the concept of line of sight. Do the two most important things that a business should be accomplishing. How do I get new customers, and how do I keep the customers I have and make them happy? Everyone in the organization should be able to answer that question. What am I doing to achieve those two goals? From the CEO of the company right down to the person who's dealing face-to-face with the customer. That's a very good measure for how we should be training our people.
Absolutely, Peter. And the thing is that enables us to connect directly to what matters to people in the C-suite, because it may be important to them to train people. It may even be important to them that people are trained effectively. But what really matters is whether or not we're helping the organization be more successful. And the way that we can link training directly to increasing the bottom line of the organization is, how is it helping the individual to gain and retain more customers? How is it enabling them to see and fulfill on their line of sight to the customer?
This line of sight is certainly worth talking about in some of our future webinars. I know we're going to continue to explore this area. For everybody who I'm responsible for getting ready and helping them perform, can I answer the question, what can you do to help me either gain or retain new customers?
Absolutely. And your leaders want this. CEOs want is for HR professionals, learning professionals, OD professionals to be business experts. And if you don't know how to do that, then we suggest very strongly that you talk to someone that does. like us.
Listen to our next webinar where we talk a little bit more about line of sight and how this concept can really help you to improve your training and your business.